KPBS On Demand is supported by Splatero, helping homeowners pay off debt by offering streamlined access to your home's equity with no additional monthly payments or new debt. Splatero provides a lump sum of payment in exchange for a share of your home's future value. Pre-qualification is available at splatero.com.
Welcome back to another edition of the KPBS Cinema Junkie Podcast. I'm Beth Accomando. Today, we pay tribute to Jackie Chan by way of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and a stuntman who grew up worshiping the Hong Kong action star.
So, you're a tough guy, huh?
Okay, Jackie Chan is a human special effect, only he works without a green screen or a net. And on Saturday, November 12th, his unique skill set was finally acknowledged by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences with a special Oscar at the Governor's Awards. Here's Tom Hanks presenting the award.
As you know, the Governor's Awards are a chance for the Academy to recognize unique achievements across an artist's whole body of work. And because Jackie Chan, the man who puts the Chan in Chantastic, because he has worked mostly in martial arts films and action comedies, two genres that have been, for some reason, shall we say, historically underrepresented at the Oscars. A fact that will change if I have any pull on the Board of Governors. It is especially gratifying to be able to acknowledge Jackie's enormous creativity, his great gift for physical performance, and incredible dedication to his work with this Governor's Award tonight. Great acting comes in many different forms. But if you are an actor, you always know it when you see it. Now, Jackie Chan's films have been incredibly serious, sometimes gruesomely so, as well as incredibly hilarious, to the point of delighting millions of people around the globe. On one hand, you could say, out of China came another version of John Wayne, the serious films. And out of China came the Buster Keaton, the comedic films. How is this possible out of one man? His talents must be truly chantastic. But Jackie does something that neither one of those great screen legends was ever able to do. Neither one of those great artists of the cinema ever put the bloopers on during the closing credits. And those outtakes never showed John Wayne or Buster Keaton fracturing his elbow or tearing his plantar's fascia. And that's just one of the many reasons why the Actors Branch is so pleased to be honoring Jackie the Chantastic Chan along with the rest of the Academy. Jackie Chan.
Academy Award. I still can't believe I'm standing here. It's a dream. Long time ago, every year when I watch Oscar with my dad, sometimes with my mom, my dad always said, son, you get so many movie awards in the world, when are you get one of these? Then I just look at my dad, ha ha ha. Dad, I only make comedy action movies. Many years later, I come to Hollywood, meeting with some big studio director, my friend's house, Stallone's house. That was 23 years ago. I see these little things in his house. I touched it, I kissed it, I smelled it. I believe still have my fingerprints in. They keep it. Then I thought to myself, I really want one. Finally, Sherry calls. I said, are you sure? After 56 years film industry, making more than 200 films, I break so many bones. Finally, this is mine. This is mine. I want to thank you, Hong Kong, incredible city, my hometown, my hood, who made me, China, my country, proud to be Chinese. Thank you, Hollywood, for all those years teaching me so many things and also make me a little bit famous. And I thank you, my family, my wife, Joanne, my son, JC, a special Jackie Chan stunt team. This year is the Jackie Chan stunt team 40 years anniversary. And all the friends, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And ladies and gentlemen, and also distinguished guests, and Academy Motion Picture Art and Science, thank you. And I want to thank you, who should I thank you? And I forget. And I still have some dialogue, I forget what should I say. I don't know. It's an honor to be here. It's my honor. Thank you. Last not least, million thanks to all my friends, fans around the world, because I have a reason continue to make movies, jumping a window, kicking and punching, keep breaking my bone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you.
But the award comes a little bit late. It was 25 years ago that the Hong Kong action star and stuntman extraordinaire came to the U.S. and tried to break into the American market. But Hollywood didn't know what to do with him. Chan, already a writer, director, action choreographer, and star in Hong Kong, knew exactly how to best showcase his unique talents. But no one in Hollywood was willing to listen. So his first American films were a weak attempt at comedy action in the big brawl.
From the makers of Enter the Dragon comes the Big Brawl. There's a fight over here! And out of the East comes a new master of martial arts, Jackie Chan.
A pair of wasted cameos in the Cannonball Run films, and a bland cop drama called The Protector.
Meet New York's new weapon. Jackie Chan is The Protector.
Fed up with Hollywood and newly inspired to prove that he knew best how to deliver a Jackie Chan picture, Chan returned home to make some of the most breathtaking and exhilarating action films of all time. Most notably, the Police Story trilogy, Project A Parts 1 and 2, and Armor of God 1 and 2. Part of the problem in marketing Chan's films in the U.S. was that they were just too much damn fun. Their crowd-pleasing tendencies made them too crassly commercial for art houses, and their subtitles kept them from mainstream success. But Chan's films offer pure escapism and display an exuberance of style that's intoxicating. His films enjoyed a devoted cult following here in the U.S., with fans buying bootleg VHS and DVD copies of films that were initially unavailable here. But Chan, who was already an international box office star, had to wait a little bit longer to find success in the U.S. In the mid-'90s, Chan kicked off a multi-picture deal with New Line, which released Rumble in the Bronx.
To millions of fans around the world, he's a living legend. If you've never seen him before,
It's him! Give me that gun!
you've never seen action.
We got hostages! They're in a hovercraft! Call out the Coast Guard!
New New Line Cinema presents the action hero who does all his own stunts. Jackie Chan.
And then the floodgates were opened. At their best, Chan's films joyously and unashamedly revel in the sheer potential of the medium and the human body. Chan displays an exuberance, athletic prowess, and brash showmanship reminiscent of Douglas Fairbanks Sr., combined with the comedic timing of Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd. Chan's appeal lies in his mix of superhuman physical skills and an everyman persona. He performs death-defying stunts, yet he never forgets that he's fallible. Sometimes his characters slip and fall or miss a mark, and he has to scramble for safety. He also stops in the middle of a fight to shake off the pain of having been hit. And he's not afraid to show fear. In Wheels on Meals, he hilariously turns and runs from a pair of bad guys who he says look super tough. The audience likes and identifies with Chan because he rises up from defeat. In addition, there's a unique rapport between Chan and his audience because with each film, he literally risks his life for them. He frequently plays out his stunts in a single wide shot and includes outtakes of the injuries to verify the risks he's taking. Chan takes the action out of the hands of special effects artists and returns it to the actor. So when the audience gasps in awe at a spectacular stunt, they're reacting not only to the character Chan is playing, but also to the man himself, and they love him for that. Part of Chan's success can be traced to his childhood years as a student at Hong Kong's grueling Peking Opera Academy. Under their rigorous training, he learned acrobatics, martial arts, and mime, among other skills. After Bruce Lee's death in 1973, Hong Kong tried to package Chan as Lee's successor. But Chan smartly realized that he couldn't imitate Lee, so he decided to counter Lee's image as a lethal precision killer by presenting himself in a lighter, more comedic vein. Chan's ability to mix humor with action revitalized the Hong Kong industry and established him as a star in his own right. Chan's trademark became dazzlingly choreographed fights interrupted by broad humor. His style and screen persona reveal the influence of silent film comedians such as Harold Lloyd and Buster Keaton. From Keaton in particular, he learned how to use cinematic space and how to turn props into active rather than passive elements in a scene and to execute precise comedic control of his body, often in defiance of gravity. Like those silent clowns, he realized that sight gags and physical stunts are not only the most universal language in the world, but they're also the most basic elements of film syntax. Stanley Tong, one of the few directors who seems in perfect sync with Chan's style, notes that his background as a stuntman has helped him in directing Chan. When I interviewed Stanley Tong, he told me, whenever I choreograph action, I know how good Jackie is, what his weaknesses are, and what his strengths are. And I also will try out the stunt myself. I risk my own life before I let him risk his. Tong directed Chan in Rumble in the Bronx, which is the first film that stuntman Fernando J. Huerto remembers being influenced by. Huerto is an actor, director, stuntman, and fight choreographer.
Hi, Yunjae? Yeah, this is Tim. Mike can't be on the phone right now because he is going to get the ass-kicking of his lifetime. Hey!
He gets to jump off a 20-foot building as a regular part of his job at Universal Studios. And he also makes his own short films to showcase what he and his team of martial artists can do. I'd been following Jay for 72 hours as he partook in the 4 Points Film Project, where filmmakers are given 3 days and a handful of required elements to work with. Jay had Chan in mind when he was creating action scenes for his film. We spoke the morning after Jay had submitted the final film. Jackie Chan just received a special Oscar at the Governor's Awards. So I wanted to talk to you because you are a stuntman and you do have an appreciation for Hong Kong action. Tell me what it is about Jackie Chan that you think makes him unique.
Jackie Chan, he's the most unique martial arts actor because he uses prop work in his fight scenes. A lot of fighters, a lot of martial arts actors, they're straight up one-on-one fighting. And Jackie Chan, he likes to use creative prop work. Like if you put him in an IKEA, he'll probably use every single piece of furniture against his opponent. You don't see that in other martial arts actors like Tony Jaa, Iko Uwais, Bruce Lee, Donnie Yen. I mean, they're great in their own right, and I love them all. I think they're amazing. But Jackie Chan stands out in that way because he he uses furniture as weapons. And also he takes from Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, that kind of physical comedy into his fight scenes.
Well, he also seems to be someone who, his main concern isn't for him to look good all the time. It's to have these fights that are very engaging. So sometimes he is the one getting beaten down, or that he's fallible, and it seems to engage you a lot more in his fights.
Oh yeah, I agree. Jackie Chan, he's human. A lot of these martial arts fight scenes, the hero seems almost indestructible. They get 90% offense and win the day. Jackie, I don't know if he wins all of his fights. Actually, as I think about it, I think he wins only 50% of them. If you watch like Police Story, that's probably the only time I can think where he wins the fight. But like Rush Hour, he doesn't necessarily win. He gets away. So yeah, I think what makes him unique is he's human. He just tries to run away. Oh yeah, Shanghai Nights, he doesn't win either. Yeah, he just gets lucky. He gets lucky all the time.
Well, you mentioned how he uses props, and one of the things that I fell in love with Hong Kong action films, especially with the Jackie Chan films, is everything in a room or a location seems to be potentially active in terms of how it can play out in a scene, and it could be anything from a piece of clothing to knives and forks on the table to a broom.
It's just thinking creatively, that's art. You take what you have around you and you use it. That's what's great about the cinematic art, or the art form of creating fight scenes. Like I could look at this room in my parents' house right now, and I could think of 2 things at least to use. Maybe Jackie Chan could use like 50 of these things, but that's what's great about his mind and the way he works. He could take whatever is in the room and use it creatively, not just like take a glass vase and smash it over someone's head. Like he could like throw it at a guy, the guy will catch it, he'll kick him, and he'll make sure that vase doesn't get broken, that kind of thing. I think it was like Rush Hour, I think that's what he did it in. But yeah, it's using these pieces of furniture and these objects in as a creative way as possible, not in a way to I can't really explain it. It's just the way it works. Like my boss at Action Horizons, he tells me this thing called positive contact, meaning like when you do a fight scene, you knock into like walls or tables, or if you're like swinging an axe, if you try to swing it and the guy dodges, it's best if it hits like a wall or something close by. That's called positive contact. With Jackie Chan films, you see a lot of positive contact, but also in a way that like he uses it. Like if he hits something, if he hits a wall or a table, he'll roll over it and then kick the table against another guy that's coming after him, and that's what sets him apart in his fight scenes.
Do you remember the first Jackie Chan film you ever saw?
Technically, it would be that one American film that Robert Klaus did. It was called The Protector. I barely remember it as a kid, but I remember not being oppressed. But the one that I would like to say that was my real first Jackie Chan film would be Rumble in the Bronx.
Are you okay? No. Rumble in the Bronx.
And that's when I saw that martial arts films can be completely different from the norm in terms of like what we're talking about, the prop work and the stunts.
Now, when you tackle doing fights for film, what are your kind of primary concerns when you're choreographing?
The primary concerns, first and foremost, is safety. You got to make sure all your performers are safe, especially, using even fake weapons, prop weapons. Safety is paramount. Next after that is just making it look good on screen, and that's where the acting comes from. I mean, I'm not just a stuntman, but I'm a trained actor, and like I'm not just going to throw a punch and have it land. There's got to be intent to it, and especially if you're the guy taking a punch. I'm also a wrestler, and we learn to in wrestling we learn to sell, meaning like we have to make that punch look good. You could throw a punch really well, but if the other guy is not selling that punch, then you both look bad. You could throw a shitty punch, but if you sell it well, then you both look good.
So I got to watch you shoot this 4 Points film project where you were choreographing fights for a film that had to be made in 72 hours. And one of the things I heard you talk about was it the fights didn't necessarily have to be fast, but it had to have like good rhythm. So what's this kind of connection between the rhythm of a fight and the speed of it and how it looks on screen?
Well, there's that military adage is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So basically, if you're trying to go for speed, you're definitely going to stumble, because when you factor speed into like throwing combinations, your brain has to process all that information, and the other person has to catch up with you, or you have to catch up with them. But if you have good rhythm, what's going to happen is you're going to look smooth, and that smooth translates to camera as speed.
From the Hong Kong films, a lot of the Hong Kong films, especially Jackie Chan, he talked about how he learned from people like Gene Kelly, who was a dancer, that a lot of times the way to shoot a fight is from a single wide angle, so you can appreciate everything that's in the frame and everything that is kind of involved in the fight. Did you learn something from that as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially in Jackie Chan's Hong Kong films, he shoots a lot of his fights wide. He does a couple of the over the shoulders, but that's just to accentuate a punch. But if he's going for a long combination or nice big move, it's usually wide so you could see the technique. And he likes to shoot these combinations in a longer take, as opposed to like the state of action films now, where you see Taken, where it's all shot close and there's maybe 17 cuts in 1 second, so you can't see anything. But with Jackie Chan and Hong Kong films, yeah, that's I notice also like in Gene Kelly films, or anything like West Side Story, or any movies that musical numbers or dance numbers, they're shot in wides and done in longer takes so you could see the technique. And that's what I learned from that. And also from friends that I've filmed with. When we do fight scenes, we shoot typically wider, and we hold the shot longer than a typical American action film. And I think it really showcases the actor and the performer and the stunt people. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure everybody looks good and showcase the skills of everybody.
Yeah, a lot of American action films are cut so fast that, it's like you can use anybody in a fight if you're just taking 1 second of a punch being thrown or something, where it doesn't seem that you get quite as engaged in who's fighting and what's happening at each moment.
Exactly, and it does a disservice to everybody, all the performers and the stunt performers, because like I said, you can't see their skill. And you could just take, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but you could just take any actor and like have him throw like several punches and edit it fast, but what do you accomplish out of that? Nothing really. It's just a mess. And especially if, you got actors like Keanu Reeves who train his butt off, then you really want to showcase what they can do. And that's what Matrix did for him. And I really like The Matrix. It showcased Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie Moss, and Keanu Reeves' training. And I, in my personal opinion, I think they did an excellent job. And I'm glad the Wachowskis shot it in wides and showed that the actors can do it themselves. And it just makes them and everybody look good.
Well, and they were smart enough to hire a Hong Kong action choreographer in Yuen Wo-ping. So that was the first time I remembered an American film kind of using that Hong Kong style and putting it to good effect.
Yeah, exactly. For some reason, like 16 years later, we've gone backwards. We're using Hong Kong guys, but still we're shooting it and editing it in a typical American action way. You see Jason Bourne films and Taken films. My boss at Action Horizons, he's the stunt double for Liam Neeson, but I don't want to knock the Taken series. I think they were quite good, but I just wish that you could showcase Liam Neeson and my boss better, because they put in the time and the work, and I believe that Liam Neeson's a great actor and a great performer. I'm sorry about taking this, mentioning the prequels that shall not be named, but I thought Liam Neeson did quite well with the lightsaber fights in episode 1, and they shot in wides, and he's very capable of doing action. So I wish, we could have seen, Liam Neeson's do these really cool, Krav Maga or military martial arts sequences in Taken, because he really does have the skill. I totally believe that, but that's just the state of where we are right now.
Do you have a favorite Jackie Chan film or Jackie Chan fight, one that really impressed you?
There's two. There's all the fight scenes in Police Story 1, the playground fight in Police Story 2, all of Drunken Master 2, and I really like Rumble in the Bronx, the two fights, the one in the alley and the one in the gang hideout.
That's enough! Okay, you win. I don't know what you're thinking. You can spend the rest of your life beating up people and robbing them. Why lower yourself? Don't you know you're the sum of society?
Those stand out to me the most. Oh, also Armor of God, and Armor of God 2. They had I thought those fights were excellent, and those have to be my favorite Jackie Chan fight scenes. Typically the ones in the 80s are the ones that stand out, but the ones with the best prop work would be probably the ones in the 90s. So those stand out to me, but a lot of it just kind of becomes like a mix, like a greatest hits type of thing for me. So I can't really put one particular thing, but those 4 films stand out.
I also like the ones in Wheels on Meals where he fights. I think it's his bodyguard, Benny
Jet Urquidez.
Yeah.
Benny the Jet Urquidez. Well, that's not his bodyguard. That's just it's a friend of his. His bodyguard is the guy who was Ken Lo, the one he fought in Drunken Master 2. That's his bodyguard. But yeah, he has a great fight with Benny Jet Urquidez, both in Dragons Forever and Wheels on Meals. And I think Jackie's not really known for his like one-on-one fight scenes. He's really known for his group fights and his prop work, but his one-on-one fights that stand out the most are his fights with Benny Jet Urquidez and Ken Lo, and that's the only thing the only fight, the one-on-one fights of Jackie's that I could, that stands out to me, because when you see like Donnie Yen, you could pick out a ton of like one-on-one fights that are excellent, because that's mostly how his movies are. But with Jackie Chan, they're always group fights. So, yeah.
And what I love about those two is, well, there'll be these moments of real intensity where the fight is going full blast, and then he'll like step away and shake his hand like ow, 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 like it hurts, and like it gives it this like light moment or comedic touch at times when you don't expect it.
It also gives him a sense of humanity. And you just hit it on the head right there. Like, after just fighting a lot, you're gonna get hurt. Your hands are gonna hurt from punching so much. But it's just. And I notice a lot of other martial arts actors, they don't do that. They rarely do that. The only time you see like showing pain is when they get hit. But yeah, when Jackie hits people, his hand's gonna hurt. That's what happens in real life. You're gonna get broken. You're probably gonna get broken knuckles. Who knows? But yeah, that's another subtlety, another thing of Jackie's that I really appreciate, because I think that's acting moments like that really show you how much he cares and how he's actually a really good actor. Like, I mean, you got to think about these things, and that's actually when I do my fight scenes, I think about that too. When I like even in my live shows, when I throw a punch that lands, I show the audience that my hands hurt. I'll wince in pain because my knuckles will hurt. That's the way an actor thinks. They think the subtle and the real. I think that's what makes Jackie an incredible actor as well. He's really underrated in that area of performance.
Jackie Chan won this special Oscar, which was given at a separate ceremony from the Academy Awards. In Hong Kong, you have a category at their main awards, which is for action choreography. So they seem to recognize how important a part of a film that is. Do you think that's ever going to happen here?
I hope so, because I know in LA, and I have a lot of stuntman friends and colleagues, and they've been pushing for a stunt coordination award in the Oscars. There's best stunt work like that, and they're still fighting for that. And I hope one day that'll happen, and that'll come into play. And I know in Hong Kong that's always been recognized, and if the Oscars had that category a while back, I think Jackie would have gotten his Oscar sooner than now. But I'm glad he got it, because I believe like he got that Oscar not just because of his his stunt work, but he is an important part of cinematic history. One of the single greatest pieces of cinematic history. Movies have been around for like a little over 100 years, and when you look back and think of like who were the pioneers of film, and one of them has to be Jackie Chan. He's made over 200 films. He's done stunt work. He's an actor, producer, director, and everybody loves him. He's a worldwide icon. Like everybody knows who he is. So I think receiving that Oscar just solidifies that he is a major part of cinema's history.
Well, and he's a mix too of being a creative artist, but also a really smart businessman.
Yes, he is. I mean, like I don't know much about his the business aspect of his career, but from what I see, he's always been good with like Mitsubishi or his own clothing line, and yeah, he is a very smart businessman for a guy who has barely a high school equivalent degree. He's smart in how he makes his movies and how he deals with his business partners. So he is just a guy who knows what he's doing and knows the aspects of his craft, and it encompasses his personality and his talent as a whole. And I'm glad that finally he got recognized that in probably the biggest cinematic, I guess, organization in the world.
As someone who is a stunt performer, what would you like to see happen in the future in terms of how filmmakers approach stunt work to better kind of integrate stunt work into a film and to make it look better on film?
Well, if they follow the Hong Kong model, I think that's the best way to tackle that part of movie making. 1, it's cheaper. 2, it's efficient, and 3, it makes everybody look good. It just looks cleaner. It looks nicer. And people appreciate that. I know a lot of people do, even people who aren't really martial arts fans. I mean, they see the skill, and they see the performers doing some incredible physical feats. So I think if instead of going backwards into the close-up, fast cuts style of Bourne Identity or that kind of action, I think that's definitely the way to go in order to present a better sense of and better performance of action films.
Well, I just remember seeing 2 films that stood out recently are The Raid and 13 Assassins. And both of those films, there were some fast cuts, but the thing that both of them accomplished for me by the end was that by the end of it, you felt as exhausted as those characters who were fighting. And I remember I was sitting next to my son who loves martial arts, and there was a point in the movie where he goes I need water. I just need water.
Yeah, I mean, for The Raid, that's a movie where they're in a situation where they're fighting for the life the entire time, because the entire movie takes place in a building. So it's like you can't really have any dialogue sequences when you're constantly getting shot at or attacked by machete wielding tenants, drug dealers. So it's like, where can you go? You just have to keep going up. You have to keep fighting, and yeah, it is very exhausting, and you feel it, and that's what the nature of that particular film was. So yeah, when you don't really get that in Jackie Chan movies, because there's periods of rest, character development, but Raid, they're trying to get out. And
yeah, there's some grueling fight scenes where it's just going down a hallway and you just stay with the characters so that you feel, again, it's that you feel how exhausting it must be to have to fight for an extended length of time without a break. And when you make cuts, I think you lose that feeling for the audience.
Yeah, you lose that because, I mean, behind the scenes, you have the breaks. Like you're doing a couple moves and you have a break. So but when you're fighting in real life and you're fighting like 2 minutes straight, like for instance, when I used to spar in Taekwondo class, within a minute I'm already exhausted, because there's no cuts, there's no, take 2. It's just you're straight on fighting for a minute. You got to be a super athlete in order to go through 3 minutes of fighting, especially if you're fighting like multiple opponents. And I think a movie that shows that well is probably Old Boy and Tom Yong-gun, or The Protector, Tony Jaa, only because they do a one-take sequence, like an action scene that's done in one entire take, and that helps the actor simulate exhaustion. Because like if you're doing a fight scene where you're doing like plenty of cuts, as an actor, you're going to have to think, oh shit, I have to like pretend I'm tired. So, typically like if you're a skilled actor, then you'll know like, okay, this character's fighting like a minute straight, then I'm gonna have to be tired, and so I'll just do jumping jacks in between takes so I could put up a sweat and and try to recover that. But in like movies like Old Boy and The Protector, where you're doing a one take fight, you really don't have to think about it because you're naturally exhausted, and the realism of fighting comes out better in those things.
The fights we've been talking about, and Jackie Chan in particular, is martial arts work. There's an element that's been brought into some recent film called parkour, which was highlighted and kind of got a lot of attention in the film District B13. Mm-hmm. What does that add to kind of stunt work, and how is it different from just fighting or martial arts?
Well, it's parkour is a way to get from A to B as efficiently as possible. Parkour complements action movies in a way that it allows the character to have a creative way to escape or to run away. So I actually like having parkour in there, and I think it really changes the game in terms of action films and allows, martial arts guys. Well, Jackie Chan, he was pretty much the pioneer of parkour. And then David Bell and Sebastian Foucault, I think I got his name wrong, but they expanded upon that idea and created the athletic form of parkour. When you're doing a fight scene and then you add parkour in the element, for me, I would use that as a way to escape or run away from the bad guys instead of just like running 17 blocks and just looking back and stuff. I think it's more creative to like jump over stuff, vault, and it also presents the character as a skilled martial artist. It just complements it perfectly, I think.
I guess Jackie Chan was doing it before they had a name for it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. Yeah, and a lot of his movements are inspired by his escape sequences.
Is there anything else you want to add about the kind of the state of stunt work right now, or some films that you think are promising for what the future of stunt work is?
Well, it's always evolving, I noticed. A lot of fights now are using tricking, which is basically martial arts and gymnastics. There's a movement of fight scenes going that direction where you see like people doing corkscrew flips in the air and kicking people. It's not typically my strength. Like I don't do that. I'm more of like a stand-up fighter. But stunt work and action films in general are heading towards that direction. But also we're going into a more realistic type of action, like with John Wick. Keanu Reeves, he learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think Krav Maga, but he's also learning tactical gunfighting. And Krav Maga, and these realistic fighting tactics and firearm tactics have been used with military personnel, law enforcement, and martial artists for quite a while. But now, because of the sophisticated eyes of the viewers, now we're all clamoring for more realistic set pieces. So I see the stunt work and action films going in that direction, and John Wick is a good example of that because it's all very realistic, tactical, but is also presented in a pleasing way for the audience.
Wasn't John Wick actually produced or developed at a stunt company?
Yes, the directors are of John Wick and John Wick Chapter 2. They are part of 8711 stunt team, which is a stunt team that helped with The Matrix and have done all sorts of mainstream action films. David and Chad, they were stunt coordinators, and they're presented with actually directing their own movies. So that's why they're doing John Wick and John Wick 2, and that's why it's so successful. That's why the action is so good, because you're giving people who create action sequences, you're giving them the wheel, and that's why those movies are so well done, and that's why everybody loves them, and I love it. I love them so much.
All right. Well, thank you very much for talking stunts and Jackie Chan with me.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully you'll see more from us, from our team, Jabroni Pictures. So you can check us out at youtube.com/Jabroni Pictures for all your independent action comedy films, and please subscribe. We'll keep doing this if you keep watching, and I'll keep working my butt off, and hopefully you get to see me work in one of the bigger films someday.
Well, of your short films that you've done for 48-hour film projects and 4 Points, I think my favorite was Rule 43. Is that the one with the Jenga?
Yeah.
All right, definitely check that one out.
Yeah, please check that out. And I think my personal favorite, The Finisher, and if you want, and also the Deadliest Date, that was done in one shot, and I'm particularly proud of that one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Deadliest Date. I'm Rocky Renfro, and I'm here with Power Ranger enthusiast...
Kamen Rider. I like Kamen Rider. It's better.
My bad. Kamen Rider enthusiast Tim Cruise, who is hoping to fight his way through our highly trained cockblockers to win a date with our lovely bachelorette.
Is that what I think it is?
Why, yes, Tim. This is your weapon of choice, the Palermo Chibo 3000 Spatula to the Stars, available online or at a retail store nearest you.
So I'm using this to fight.
You know the rules, Tim. Make your way through, and if you get to the end and survive, you will win an all-expense-paid date with the lovely nuclear physicist, Katie McCurdy.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Now, Tim, your time starts now!
And away he goes. Most people get hung up in this section right here. Oh, but not Tim.
Ooh, flattened him.
Thanks for listening to another edition of the KPBS Cinema Junkie Podcast. Next week, I'll have a special episode for Thanksgiving, all about the films we're thankful for. So till our next film fix, I'm Beth Accomando, your resident cinema junkie. Oh, and one more thing Jackie Chan could do? He could sing.
只会流汗不会流泪，不懂后退只会奉陪，只想尝到挑战的滋味。吃一点亏已无所谓，受一点苦也无所谓，一身伤痕换一份体会。怎么能够将白变黑？怎么能够将是变非？怎么能够眼睁睁看着世界不分真伪？做到问心无愧，代价不菲。只要做得对，就是最大的安慰。不管是谁，只活一回，对得起自己，也就不必说后悔。问天，问地，问心无愧。只要做得对，不管有没有人陪，不管是谁，只活一回。
KPBS On Demand is supported by Splatero, helping homeowners pay for home improvements by offering streamlined access to your home's equity with no additional monthly payments or new debt. Splatero provides a lump sum payment in exchange for a share of your home's future value. Pre-qualification available at splatero.com.